After dark, music drifts from around the corner, too cheerful for a street this empty. Then the stage appears, glowing red between the apartment blocks. Incense smolders along the curb, paper curls into flame, and just beyond the lights stands something impossibly thin, its belly swollen, its throat narrow as a wire, staring at the offerings with a mouth that can never be filled.
Thursday Thrills.
This is Thursday Thrills, a quick weekly ride into the creepy stories, haunted places, weird obsessions, and eerie little corners of the world worth talking about. I'm Henrique Couto, and tonight we're following one wonderfully spooky image. An empty front row at a nighttime performance. Into Hungry Ghost Month, a living season of remembrance, offerings, neighborhood entertainment, and Chinese ghost folklore. Ghost Month 2026 begins August 13th and runs through September 10th. Oh, that's my birthday. I hope that's just a coincidence. The 15th day falls on August 27th. Cemeteries and performances may land on different days because traditions vary by place, but those are the verified dates for the 7th lunar month. Don't worry, I'm not about to lock the car doors and turn this into a comparative religion lecture. We just need a roadmap because the internet loves throwing several traditions into one haunted blender, or a Vitamix, more a Vitamix, and calling the result 10 rules you must never break or some clickbaity crap. The real story is stranger, warmer, and honestly, far more interesting. Here's the cleanest way to think about it. Hungry Ghost Month is the whole stretch of road. The Hungry Ghost Festival is the big landmark near the middle. The month is the 7th month of the lunar calendar. The festival name in English usually points to the 15th day, although in Singapore and some other communities people may use it more broadly because prayers, offerings, dinners, and performances continue throughout the season. Under that big umbrella, several traditions meet. Chinese folk religious practices may include honoring ancestors, making offerings to deities, and providing for wandering spirits who have no family tending to them. In Daoist tradition, the 15th day is associated with the Zhongyuan Festival. It can include rites and offerings intended to bring pardon, peace, or relief to suffering souls. The Buddhist Yulanpen, or Ullambana tradition, carries the story of the monk known in Chinese as Mu Lian. He discovers that his mother is suffering after death and learns that rescuing her requires generosity beyond one private act, offerings to the monastic community, and merit dedicated on her behalf. So, one temple may emphasize chanting and compassion, one family may prepare food for ancestors, one neighborhood may build a stage, hang lights, and turn the night into a show. Those all overlap, but they're not identical. There's no single official Ghost Month checklist hiding in a secret drawer somewhere. This is what happens when traditions stay alive long enough to travel. They meet new languages, new neighborhoods and generations while keeping some old shapes and taking on new ones. Now, let's get to the part with the unbeatable horror movie name: The Hungry Ghosts. First, a beloved ancestor is not automatically a hungry ghost just because that person has died. That's one of the biggest things spooky internet summaries they get wrong. An ancestor has a relationship to the living, a name, a family, a place in memory. Depending on the household, that relationship may be maintained through tablets, incense, food, graveside visits, prayers, or simply the act of remembering. A wandering spirit is different. In some traditions, this may be someone who died without descendants, whose identity has been lost, or who has no one performing rites for them. And a hungry ghost can mean something even more specific. In Buddhist cosmology, a preta is a being trapped in relentless craving, unable to satisfy its hunger. In everyday folk usage, the phrase can be broader, describing restless or neglected spirits believed to need food, attention, or ritual care. That is what makes the offerings so important. Food can be hospitality. Incense can express reverence or carry prayer. Joss paper, made to represent money or useful objects, may be burned as symbolic provision for the spirit world. Not everybody does all of these things. Some Buddhist communities emphasize chanting, merit, and charity rather than paper offerings. And there is the little chill hiding under all of it. The truly frightening idea is not that the dead are hungry. It's that someone could be forgotten so completely that hunger becomes another word for having no place at anyone's table. We have food for the spirits, paper money for the other side, and an entire front row nobody living wants. That feels like the perfect place for a very living break. Well, you made it back. Guess those ghosts weren't as hungry as we worried, but it's still early. So let's head back to that stage. In Singapore and Malaysia, 7th month celebrations may include getai, meaning song stage. And getai is not a hushed seance with one candle and a table that may or may not wobble from spirits. It can be loud, bright, and joyfully over the top. Singers, hosts, comedians, they all dance, flashing costumes, and a sound system fully committed to making sure the next neighborhood hears the chorus as well. Traditional Chinese opera may also be performed. In Singapore and Malaysia, the word wayang is often used for stage performances. These shows are entertainment for the living, community events, and in some places, offerings to unseen guests, all at once. That's where the empty front row comes in. At some getai and wayang performances in Singapore and Malaysia, the first row is deliberately left vacant for spirits. Sometimes the seats are marked, sometimes regular attendees simply know not to sit there. Reports from Penang even describe places identified with large joss sticks. This is a regional custom, not necessarily a rule for every performance, because even performers differ in which precaution they follow. But where the custom is practiced, it creates one of the best spooky images that I'm aware of. The show is lively, the host is joking, the singer is working the crowd, nobody is screaming or pointing at the reserved chairs. That normality is what kind of gets to you. The spirits aren't treated only as monsters that must be driven away. They're offered food, they're given entertainment, they are acknowledged as members of the audience. The living sit behind them. The performers face a row of absence and behave as if it's watching. So the question is no longer, why is that seat empty? But more, what would it mean if it wasn't? Of course, once a season has wandering spirits, burning offerings, and reserved seating for the dead, it's going to collect a few rules. But these are family customs and regional beliefs, not a universal instruction manual. Someone from Singapore may know a warning that means nothing to a family in Taiwan. Still, a few beliefs are well documented. First, do not step on, kick, or casually move roadside offerings. In Singapore and Malaysia, you may see food, incense, or paper placed near a curb, tree, or a temporary altar. In some communities, disturbing it is believed to disrespect the spirits who are waiting to receive it. Supernatural consequences aside, somebody carefully arranged a religious offering so it's not litter, just walk around it. Second, do not take a reserved seat. If the first row has been intentionally left open at getai or wayang performances, upgrading yourself to the best view in the house means intruding on space prepared for extra special unseen guests. It's one of those warnings that becomes creepier when you consider that nobody has to explain it twice. And third, some communities warn against swimming at night during the 7th month. Singapore accounts connect that caution with stories of water ghosts believed to seek company among the living. Taiwan's Ghost Month traditions also include lanterns guiding souls lost in water toward offerings. The customs are not identical, but both treat water as a place where the boundary can feel a bit thin. Also, not swimming alone at night is, in general, excellent advice even when the supernatural is not really on the table. Fourth, in some Singapore traditions, people are warned not to crawl beneath or peer under offering tables. The space around the altar is understood to belong to the spirits receiving the offerings. It's not a haunted blanket fort, so leave it alone. Fifth, some families postpone weddings, moving into a new home, or making a major purchase during that month. This one is less cinematic and more pragmatic, I suppose, but it shows how folklore can shape everyday ordinary life. If the season is considered spiritually unsettled, it may not feel like the right time to begin something meant to carry luck or stability. The internet sees a living observance like this and immediately tries to turn it into a haunted escape room. Don't touch the offering. Don't take the seat. Don't swim after dark. Break one rule, and a ghost follows you home before the next ad. That makes a tidy, scary list, but it does flatten the countries, religions, and families into one rulebook, albeit cursed. It also turns every dead ancestor into a ravenous monster, which is simply not what these traditions are all about. you'll often hear Ghost Month reduced to the gates of hell open and everything evil gets loose. That image exists in popular folklore, but it cannot carry the whole story. It can't explain a Buddhist temple emphasizing compassion and merit. It can't explain a family preparing a favorite dish for someone that they miss. It can't explain Hong Kong Yulan rites for ancestors and wandering souls, Taiwanese water lanterns, or a Singapore neighborhood who's built a stage and given unseen guests the best seats. Modern horror loves the season for obvious reasons. Movies such as Singapore's The Maid have used the 7th month as a setting for dread and ghost stories. They borrow the offerings, temporary stages, ritual boundaries, and warnings against disrespect. It's almost a perfect horror movie mechanism. A limited season, familiar streets, rules an outsider may misunderstand, an invisible population moving through the same spaces as everyone else. But the strongest fear is still very human, a living human. Neglect, obligation, memory. Maybe the dead don't become frightening because somebody remembers them. Maybe they become frightening because nobody does. Now, imagine that street one last time. The final song ends. The host says, "Good night." Plastic chairs scrape across pavement as families head home and workers begin coiling cables beneath the makeshift stage. The offerings have burned low, one by one. Every occupied row empties. But the front row looks exactly as it did when the night began. Maybe nobody invisible ever sat there. Maybe the chair creak was the plastic cooling, or shifting pavement, or a little breeze that knew exactly when was the right time to scare you. Hungry Ghost Month is eerie because it opens doors between things we prefer to keep separate. Family and stranger, religion and entertainment, public street and sacred space, the remembered dead, and the dead with no one left to remember them. And the empty front row holds all of that in one simple image. It's hospitality offered to absence. It's a warning not to mistake invisibility for non-existence. And it is a reminder that even an unnamed guest can still be given a place. The first row isn't empty. It's what remembrance looks like when absence is given a seat. And one day, you'll plop your happy butt right down with them.
Come back tomorrow for more fear. Until then, lock your doors, as if that will help.